The election is over. The people have spoken, and the American electorate have chosen Donald Trump as their next president. So what does that mean? It means that over 72 million people were convinced that a Donald Trump presidency is going to improve their station and their way of life over the way things have been going over the last 4 years. And you know what? That's okay. Because in America, we live in a democracy. And the role of that democracy is to ensure that your voice is heard in a crowd of 335 million people. The pundits are going to yell at you from both sides. There will be excuses and complaints and gloating, but you have to be careful about the media you're about to consume. What the pundits, the political operatives, and agents of the Democrat Party don't understand is that they made some serious mistakes. And most of the mistakes stemmed around the narrative that Donald Trump is a horrible person. Well, guess what? The people who voted for Donald Trump did not care about the fact that he's a convicted felon. They care as much about his felon status as they do yours or mine. To the electorate, these are non-issues because that doesn't affect them. It has no effect on their lives. This may come as a surprise, but people are shockingly selfish. They are more concerned about the fact that they can't afford the same amount of groceries as they could 4 years ago. They are concerned about the fact that gas is becoming increasingly unaffordable. They are concerned about how much money they're spending on rent and utilities, and the fact that despite how much money they pay in taxes, the roads are still in shambles. According to recent reports, nearly 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Those are the issues that matter to the American electorate. Kamala Harris's campaign spent a considerable amount of time stumping on abortion rights, and they were convinced that it would move the needle, and it didn't. And you want to know why? Because people live in states where abortion access isn't an issue. And as I said, people are selfish. And to what end? To the end that people who live with expanded abortion laws in their states don't care about the abortion laws in other states. Another mistake, assuming that people know you. When you make a habit of avoiding the press and news conferences and interviews, or you obfuscate to the point where no one knows what you're talking about, how are the people supposed to get to know you? You can't detach yourself away from the American people during an election cycle, especially in a day and age when the economy is in a state of shell shock. So where do we go from here? This is not the time to dig your heels into one side or the other. This is a time for introspection. This is a time for both parties to think about what happened and consider making some serious change. This isn't the time for the right to gloat, and it isn't the time for the left to cry. This is a time for the American people to check ourselves and come together in areas where we see eye to eye. As an independent, I have a unique perspective of seeing things from both sides. What I don't want you to do is to get lost in the rhetoric of the media who demonize each other. The facts are available to everyone, but more than that, we're all living it. Maybe your candidate won, maybe they didn't. Notwithstanding, what we need to remember is this. This is not the end of the world. No matter what happens, terrible or wondrous, we have always been a nation that can bounce back from adversity. And what truly inspires me is the undeniable fact that when it counted the most, people stepped up and made their voices heard. And as long as people continue to show up, we can always make the change we so desperately need in this nation. God bless you, and God bless America.